Have you ever realized that in this life, the more you give, the less respected you become? This is one of the bitterest and hardest truths to accept for those with kind hearts, those who are always ready to help and utterly reliable. Society out there ceaselessly teaches you that saying yes is a manifestation of goodness, generosity, and strength. Yet, Stoic philosophy offers a much colder and more honest perspective. You are under no obligation to hand over everything that others demand of you. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once issued a stern warning. If you are not careful, the priorities of others will silently supersede and crush the priorities of your own life. This does not happen through violence or cruelty, but through polite requests, invisible emotional pressures, and the subtle seeds of guilt planted deep within your mind. Some requests for help are not as innocent as you think. In reality, they are hidden tests to see where your boundaries lie, how high your self-respect is, and how you value yourself. The greatest danger lies here. Each time you give away what ought to be strictly guarded, you are unintentionally training those around you how to devalue and take advantage of you. Personal boundaries are not a sign of selfishness. On the contrary, they are the core foundation of a peaceful life, strict discipline, and an invulnerable spirit. In the moments ahead, we will dissect 5 things that Stoic philosophy advises you never, under any circumstances, to give to others, even when they ask in the most polite manner. Sit down, take a deep breath, and prepare for a journey to reclaim ultimate sovereignty over your own life. Part 1. Stolen time. Do not surrender your time on demand. The first thing you must guard at all costs is your time when it is demanded arbitrarily. Time is not merely lifeless numbers on a clock face. Time is your life in its most raw and primordial form. Every single minute you give away is a piece of life permanently lost and never to be retrieved. Yet, this is the very first thing that those around you feel entitled to demand from you. They do not demand it crudely, but approach you in a casual, highly polite manner, as if your time were born solely to serve their needs. Can you take a quick phone call? Just help me with this tiny favor. It will only take a minute. These requests sound harmless, even entirely reasonable, and that is precisely why they easily breach your defenses. In today's modern world, people test your boundaries by draining your time. They do not start with grand sacrifices, but by continuously interrupting your work, arbitrarily determining your leisure, and normalizing access to you whenever they please. Over time, your schedule no longer belongs to you. You fall into a passive state, constantly reacting to the demands of others rather than proactively crafting your own life. From a Stoic perspective, this is not an issue of work productivity, but an issue of self-respect. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must not allow your mind to be dragged in every direction by the demands of the external world." The sage deeply understands something that most of us miss. Whoever controls your time will ultimately control your focus, your energy, and all the priorities in your life. When you instantly appear whenever others need you, you are implicitly sending a message that, "My time is flexible and cheap, while yours is fixed and precious. Your urgency matters more than my plan." This is the fertile soil where the seeds of resentment sprout. You begin to feel exhausted, distracted, and perpetually lagging behind in your own life, yet unable to clearly explain why. On the surface, you are merely trying to be kind and helpful. But deep down, you are gradually abandoning your personal goals solely to maintain comfort for others. A true Stoic never confuses kindness with unconditional availability. Being disciplined with your time does not make you selfish, it makes you self-governed. Your ultimate duty is to live by reason and wisdom, not by the arbitrary interruptions of others. The secret here is not to react with anger or rudeness, but to learn how to pause. Before saying yes to anyone, stop, breathe, and ask yourself a silent question. Does this truly align with the way I choose to live today? If the answer is no, you are under no obligation to make excuses or explain yourself. You owe them no lengthy justifications, no emotional appeasements, and certainly no consent born out of guilt. A simple, calm, and clear refusal is more than enough. I cannot do that right now, or that does not work for me. Pay attention to their reaction. Those who genuinely respect you will adjust their behavior accordingly. Conversely, those who only wish to profit from your lack of boundaries will show displeasure and resistance. That resistance is extraordinarily valuable data for you to identify toxic relationships. When you stop showing up immediately, you do not lose good relationships. You are simply filtering the emotional parasites out of your life. Part 2. The silent erosion. Do not give away free emotional labor. Second, never give away your emotional labor for free and infinitely. Not every form of exhaustion in life stems from physical labor or work pressure. The vast majority of the most terrifying fatigue comes from having to shoulder negative emotions that never truly belonged to you. Emotional labor is the most invisible thing that others can silently drain from you. There is no official offer, nor any clear transaction. It takes place under the guise of prolonged heart-to-hearts, repetitive venting, and an emotional dependence disguised under the cloak of intimacy. They never ask you, "Can I dump my emotional garbage onto you?" Instead, they will say, "Can I talk to you for a moment? You are the only one who truly understands me." Initially, you feel that it is sweet, resembling absolute trust and a profound connection. But gradually, a dangerous pattern forms. They speak, you listen, they unload, you absorb. And when it is your turn to need a listening ear, that space instantly vanishes. Stoicism draws an extremely clear boundary here. You are solely responsible for your own inner state, and you have zero obligation to manage the emotional chaos of others. This does not mean becoming cold or indifferent. Rather, it is clarity and alertness. Stoics believe that what continuously enters the mind shapes your character. If you perpetually allow the anxieties, anger, and turmoil of others to flood your inner world, you will gradually lose your clarity. Your peace of mind is eroded not because you are weak, but because you have failed to set up a protective filter. Many strong and capable individuals often fall into this trap. They confuse infinite emotional endurance with virtue. They believe that always being present to solve everyone's problems is proof of their moral strength. But in reality, that unlimited emotional availability usually stems from fear. Fear of being perceived as cold, fear of the discomfort of saying no. The philosopher Seneca once warned that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And we also suffer due to emotional resonance with those around us. When you listen to someone endlessly lamenting about a problem they never bother to fix, you are trapping yourself inside their dead-end mental loop. Pay attention to the following warning signs. You feel exhausted and heavy after talking to them, rather than relieved. They rarely ask how you are doing, or if they do, they quickly steer the conversation back to themselves. Their problems never progress, never find a solution, and never translate into action. They feel lighter after meeting you, while you feel noticeably worse. This is not a genuine connection. This is emotional vampirism. Stoicism teaches us to police what enters the mind just as strictly as what enters the body. You have every right to limit this emotional access. You can listen without assimilating. You can care without taking on the responsibility of a solution. Instead of rushing in to rescue them like a savior, return the responsibility to its rightful owner. Say politely, I am sorry you have to go through this, but right now, I do not have the mental space to help you handle it. Compassion without a protective structure leads to exhaustion. Empathy without boundaries leads to self-destruction. Your composure and stability are finite resources, the result of rigorous discipline training. If they truly respect you, they will understand and adapt. If they vanish the moment you stop acting as their emotional trash can, then they never truly valued you. Part 3. Forfeiting your sovereignty. Do not hand over your power of decision to others. Third, you must never, under any circumstances, hand the power to decide your life over to anyone else. There is an extremely razor-thin boundary between someone inquiring about you out of genuine care and them wanting to meddle to control you. If you are not vigilant, you will very easily step across this line. Many people do not genuinely want to help you make the best choice. They simply want to interfere in the process because the feeling of exerting influence grants them power. It typically begins with words that sound exceptionally sweet and full of apprehension. Are you sure that's a good idea? I'm just worried about your future. If I were you, I would do things differently. On the surface, these sound like advice born of responsibility. Yet over time, those questions begin to shadow your every choice, from your career, relationships, and lifestyle, down to your pace of personal growth. You develop the habit of bringing all your plans out for collective discussion before executing them. Unwittingly, you are going out to ask for permission rather than seeking clarity. Stoicism draws a steel line right here. Other people do not bear the consequences of your decisions. Only you alone must do that. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that no one else can think, choose, or act in his stead. This is not arrogance, but the supreme consciousness of personal responsibility. When you allow others to interfere deeply in your decisions, you are quietly surrendering your dominion over your own life. A multitude of people offer advice based on the lens of fear, mental limitations, and their own past failures. When someone tells you that your plan is too visionary, they are not describing your limitations, they are merely describing the boundaries within their own minds. Do not let someone else's cramped worldview become the prison cell that holds your potential captive. Continuously seeking validation from the outside world weakens your capacity for independent judgment. It trains you to doubt yourself before taking action and to offer explanations after you have chosen. And offering explanations is precisely a trap. The more you explain, the more you invite debate, the more you lower your personal authority, and the more you turn your decisions into a subject for others to dissect and judge. A Stoic never stands before the court of public opinion to defend their personal decisions. This does not mean you reject all useful advice, but you must draw a sharp distinction between two concepts: counsel and commentary. Counsel comes from those who truly understand your worth, respect your right to self-determination, and accept your ultimate decision. Commentary comes from those who feel they possess the right to judge, simply because they happen to be present. The former reinforces your strength. The latter merely dilutes your willpower. The philosopher Epictetus once taught that, if you wish to make progress, you must be willing to accept being considered a fool by others. When you cease to crave the consensus of the crowd, you stop molding your life according to their expectations. Respond with composure. No arguments, no persuasion, no oversharing. Decide in silence. Execute in quietness. Simply state, I have thought it through carefully, and this course of action suits me. Not a single word of explanation beyond that. Bear this truth in mind. If you let others shape your decisions, you will also have to let them shape your regrets later on, and they certainly will not carry those regrets alongside you. Part 4. Complicit silence. Do not remain silent in the face of disrespect. Fourth, you must never surrender your silence to disrespect. Silence is a magnificent power, but silence can also be mistaken for agreement and permission. Many people completely misunderstand Stoic philosophy. They hear that Stoics always maintain calmness, control their emotions, and endure adversity, and so they translate that into having to patiently suffer all mistreatment in silence. They delude themselves into thinking that swallowing their bitterness makes them sophisticated, mature, and elevated above ordinary people. In reality, this is a toxic kind of silence born from fear. Fear of conflict, fear of being disliked, fear of offending others. Silence originating from fear never protects your dignity. It merely gnaws away at it day by day. Disrespect rarely arrives loudly and directly. It creeps in through teasing remarks targeting your weaknesses, subtle put-downs disguised under the guise of humor, or behaviors that ignore personal boundaries. Wanting to keep the peace, you choose to overlook it. You tell yourself, surely they mean no harm. Why sweat the small stuff? But it is precisely that hesitation that flings open the door for further overreach. Stoicism does not teach us to become doormats for others to walk over. Marcus Aurelius advised us to keep a tranquil mind, but he never told us to let others trample on our character. When you remain silent in the face of an insult, you are teaching the other person that they have the right to treat you that way. Disrespect always thrives in ambiguity. When no boundaries are drawn, others will default to assuming their behavior is acceptable. This is the greatest mistake of kind people. They endure time and time again to avoid conflict, until that endurance turns into a mountain of hidden resentment inside. Accumulated anger that lingers for a long time does not vanish. It erodes your soul, turning your calmness into bitterness and toxicity. The Stoic solution is not a fiery battle, but a cold as ice clarity. You do not need to scream. You do not need to insult the other person back. You do not need to try to win the argument. You simply need to name that misbehavior directly, concisely, and without negative emotion. That comment was unnecessary. I do not appreciate the way you are speaking to me. Let's keep a minimum level of respect here. Just like that, no lengthy explanations, no moral lecturing. Such a response possesses a tremendously powerful ability to disarm the opponent. It forces them to confront their own rudeness instead of hiding behind excuses like, "I was only joking." Epictetus once taught that, "We cannot control the actions of others, but we have absolute control over what we tolerate." Silence chosen from a position of strength is a wise strategy, but silence born from fear is surrender. Never trade your self-respect for a counterfeit peace. Speak up when boundaries are violated, and be ready to walk away when respect no longer exists. Part 5. The Trap of Boundless Tolerance. Do not give infinite second chances. 5th, and perhaps the hardest truth for many to accept. Absolutely never hand out infinite second chances. Forgiveness is universally praised as a noble virtue. Yet constantly granting chances to someone who repeats the exact same mistake is not altruism, it is blindness and self-flagellation. There are people who do not change whatsoever after being forgiven. They merely learn how to hurt you more skillfully because they know you will always tolerate them. Every time they hurt you, they come back with tearful promises. "I didn't mean to. I promise I will never do it again. I am going through a really difficult phase." And because you are an empathetic person, your heart softens. You give them a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance. Each time believing this will be the turning point. But the turning point never arrives. Only betrayal and pain repeat themselves. Stoic philosophy teaches us to look at reality with the eyes of a scientist. The true nature of a person is revealed through their behavioral pattern, not through lip service promises. Apologies are infinitely easy, But true change demands an immense amount of disciplined effort. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that it is sheer madness to expect people to act contrary to their nature. When someone continuously hurts you in the exact same way, they are showing you their true character clearly. By continuing to hope they will magically become better, you are refusing to look the truth in the eye. Every time you make excuses for their toxic behavior, you are sending a message to your own subconscious mind that my boundaries are negotiable, my pain is cheap, and other people's comfort matters more than my own safety. Your self-respect will gradually collapse. You live in a state of anxious suspense, constantly bracing yourself for the next disappointment. A Stoic is not cruel, they are merely precise. They are willing to forgive in order to liberate themselves from resentment, but they are never naive enough to open the door for someone to harm them again. Forgiveness does not mean continuing to allow them into your life. You can wish them peace from a safe distance. Seneca wrote that we suffer because we refuse to learn from past experiences. In relationships, that suffering stems from ignoring factual evidence just to cling to illusions of hope. Walking away decisively is not revenge, it is an act of self-reverence. You are under no obligation to maintain every connection simply because of shared history. Your highest duty is to protect the integrity of your character and the peace of your soul. When you decisively cut off access to those who continuously betray your trust, a miracle happens. You reclaim your control. You re-establish the value of trust, and you stop playing the victim in your own life. Remember this: a second chance is an act of kindness, but a third chance is complicity with your abuser. We have traversed the journey of dissecting 5 things that a true Stoic will never give away arbitrarily. 1. Your time when demanded at whim. 2. Free emotional labor. 3. Control over your personal decisions. 4. Submissive silence in the face of disrespect. 5. Infinite second chances. These principles are not meant to turn you into a cold, isolated, or selfish person. They are designed to keep your mind lucid, clear, and brimming with inner strength. Stoic philosophy has never been about fleeing the world, but about refusing to abandon yourself just to be accepted by others. When you begin establishing these steel boundaries, you will witness your life transform profoundly. You stop living reactively to external fluctuations. You stop negotiating your own worth. You begin to walk with poise, composure, and an unshakable source of inner power. The greatest journey of a lifetime is not to conquer the world outside, but to completely master the citadel of your own mind. Do not delay for another second. Within this very week, select at least one boundary and practice it rigorously. Decline an inappropriate request, end an energy-draining conversation, or walk away decisively from a disrespectful relationship. If you are ready to commit to this journey, leave your mark in the comments section with the phrase, "I choose to respect myself." That is not merely a lifeless line of text, it is a resolute manifesto marking the dawn of your era of self-sovereignty. Thank you for dedicating your precious time to reflect deeply with us today. Keep walking your path, calm, steadfast, unyielding, and never having to bow your head in apology.